What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Musty Gamer, here, and today I'm back with another episode of Account Coaching Series featuring Ativva's very young account. And from the look of it, it looks like he's currently sitting at 3849, which is only one kingdom away from my current restart account, which is currently in 3850. So this is a person and account that I will actually most likely face against or allied with for the next 2 KVK. So very exciting for me to actually kind of showcase his account and also at the same time kind of showcase what I would suggest that he does with whatever he has currently as a very young account. But let's just go ahead and take a look at what he has. So he currently has Sun Tzu at 5111. And he's leveling up Sun Tzu like crazy, which is a very good strategy. Sun Tzu is very strong epic commander that you can possibly find. He's one of the best commanders that you can find in Rise of Kingdoms as an early game player. He's currently sitting at a lot of resources. I must say, like my current resource count is like 0 on all the resources. So he has a lot of them kind of saved up as items, which is really good. And he has quite a decent amount of research and universal speed ups that he can actually use for his account as well. And in terms of researches, he's doing the most efficient route, which is actually getting the building speed ups as well as the research speed ups done first before you actually invest heavily into upgrading your buildings as well as your researches. So that's really good. One thing that I would suggest though is that you actually focus more on the research before you actually get on the building, because those buildings would actually benefit from research upgrade as well. And you have to maximize this anyways eventually. He looks like he has currently T3 up unlocked for infantry, archer, and cavalry. And given that I'm quite late on this account review, he might already have all of this pass in the past and then have this all at T4. Who knows? Because this is a very young account again. Young account actually progresses a lot faster. And this is basically how he reached out to me. Yeah, he basically showed me a lot of the stuff. He planned to use $100 only per month, and he spent big upfront, and then to have a decent setup for him. But then again, he's gonna only spend $100 per month, which is fair point. And then let's see, I'm moving to the A3850. So the video is kind of late, but then again, he wants to actually save until El Cid because he wants to do Archer main, which is good. And the objective is going to be simple. I'm going to provide my best suggestion for Archer main commanders as well as Archer main early game player. And also at the same time, I want to provide my other tech and VIP order suggestions for efficiency for younger accounts like him. And for the equipment suggestion, given that he currently does not have any equipments made, it looks like. Yeah, it doesn't look like he has any equipments crafted. I just actually copied and pasted what I actually suggested for everyone else in terms of what I would suggest for equipment order. I would say moving from green and blue mix of Archer March is going to be a very good starting point for you to actually start off with. And then once you do have those revival sets as well as all the other epic pieces, I'll try to slowly upgrade to the 4-piece revival set, which is helmet, chest piece, gloves, and then pants, and then get that extra health from the epic boost for archers as well as the weapon, which will give you defense, I believe. And for archers, I would say having unit capacity and the silent trial is probably most ideal. And then once you actually go into the legendary equipments, you can actually craft the full dragon breast set. I would say this is actually what I would recommend nowadays most because of how valuable dragon breast set is. And also at the same time, having drums in there is going to be really nice. Or you can actually craft the skill damage buffing accessories nowadays, because once you go into the Season of Conquest, you can actually unlock Chin, and Chin does benefit from that skill damage buff accessory from this slot right here. So you can either do drum skill damage accessory, or you can actually do a mix of drum and something else here. And for pre-season of Conquest, this is actually the technical best that you can possibly think of or make, I believe, which is 4-piece Dragon Breast set with 2 pieces of leadership sets. But then again, if you're thinking about eventually upgrading your helmet and weapon to KBK pieces, I would say this may not be the most ideal for fielders who only wants to just go in and field. But then again, this is technically the best that you can think of for pre-K a Season of Conquest set. And then for the final Season of Conquest set, you can actually do 2-2-2 set, which is going to be 2 pieces of KVK pieces, and then chest piece and gloves for the archer 2-piece set bonus, and then the leadership sets of boots and pants with ring and horn is what I would suggest. This is actually the best rally set, but apparently if you are using chin and chin only, if you only focus on the field only, I heard that you can still run 4-2 as the best set. But then again, this is what I'll suggest as final rally garrison possible viable for Season of Conquest. With 2-piece of KVK weapon and helmet, 2-piece of chest and gloves for Dragon Breast set, and then 2-piece of leadership set, pants and boots with ring and horn. In terms of efficiency, I just mentioned it here. Like just focus on getting the research first before you actually work on your buildings and all the other stuff. So I would say try to get that research to as mass as possible. I know that in order for you to reach the higher tiers of research, you actually do need to level up your city hall. Try to do that as much as possible. You have resources, so I'm not too worried about it. And then for archer combos, I'm suggesting 3 different combos that you can use, with each of them having kind of unique strength of their own. The first thing that you suggested was LC then YSG. This is a very strong in rally or one target nuking, especially for KVK1, because it has 1000 damage factor from LC's active skill, and also at the same time it has, I think, the second or the third skill, which will give you no, I think the second skill. The second skill will give you 1000 damage factor on top of that, with 10% chance for you to trigger that. So that is going to be really, really good for if you're rallying garrison for your kingdom, I would say. And obviously, the best pairing for that was going to be YSG. If you're thinking about making archery before Season Conquest, I would say YSG is your #1 choice that you should always try to consider expertising. And I'm assuming that you have that in your mind, and that's why every single combo that I have suggested for you here is gonna actually have YSG as an option, as secondary option. 5511 or better is recommended. Again, having that 1000 damage factor and 1000 damage factor combined together is only possible with you having him 5511 as Elsid. And this is a good option because Elsid's heads are more accessible through My Discovered event. So this is if your kingdom actually supports you getting the My Discovered event for LC, that's not a bad option. Another thing that you can consider is Tutmos with YSG option, which is I think the strongest option that you can possibly think of, especially if you can expertise both of them. The best double AoE combo with Richard counter with pre KBK in there. What I mean by that is Tutmos has an active skill that does have a 30% reduction in healing that you actually cause to the enemies that you hit with those AoE. And that's going to counter Richard pretty hard in KVK1 and KVK2, right? So having Toothless YSG option is actually the strongest option on the field for that reason. And also at the same time, it has many damage buffs that would actually really powerful, be really powerful. Only downside of using Toothless is that his power is spread out between all 4 of his skills. So having 5551 or better is recommended, but he does have a little bit more accessibility if you're really lucky with your gold keys. But then again, if you work on Tutmos and YSG, you can eventually kind of swap them out to Chin plus Alpha, which is whether that is YSG or Zhuge is really up to you. But yeah, you can eventually switch that out to Chin and Zhuge Chin and YSG. So a very good option if you are willing to invest gold heads into Tutmos. And then one of the more budget option that you can think of is YSG with Kusunoki. This is a budget option, but surprisingly strong if it's expertise. Kusunogi has 800 damage factor AoE with active skill, and it also has additional 300 damage factor for a 10% chance when you're attacking the enemy. So 1100 damage factor is not a joke. It's really strong. And it's AoE. So it kind of mixes up the damage factor of kind of like damage mechanism of Elcid and Tutmos. And if you can only make Elcid or Tutmos at 5111 or less, I think Kusunogi is actually not a bad option, which is basically what this says here. Expertise is required if you want to use Kusunogi because it's an epic commander, and then it's better than 5111 Elcid or Tutmos is what I actually have here. Again, technology focused on research techs and then building for mass efficiency. Swaps to South Korea after hitting City Hall level 25 for max efficiency because South Korea does provide you that research buff at the end of the day. And then hit VIP 10, 12, 14 as soon as possible, especially if you're looking to use Tutmos or LCs for extra gold tests for the future and for the future. Because remember, you'll eventually have to hit VIP 14 anyways for that 3 extra gold tests every single day. So don't consider your gems going into it as waste. You already have 91,000 gems. I would say just try to maximize and hit at least VIP 10 as soon as possible so that you can get that 1 gold test per day. That is a value of 2,000 gold tests, 2,000 gems per day that you're earning every single day that you actually have this. And then at VIP 14, that's going to be a 6,000 gem value that you're getting every single day. That would basically put you up par with all the other people who are playing this game in Rise of Kingdom. So I would say hitting VIP 10, 12, 14 is going to be your maximum priority, like the number one priority for you at the end of the day. Well, that was a short video, given that this was a very young account. But then again, I hope this was helpful for you, Ativa. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment down below or just reach out to me again in Discord and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions, any questions that you have for me or about this this particular guide. And I do apologize for being late on this. And, like, I'm sure you have progressed a lot further than this, than what you have since then. But then again, I think you should be able to kind of still follow along whatever suggestions that I have in terms of equipment and then researches and then the VIP and technology orders. So hopefully this was helpful for you. If you did find this video helpful, please feel free to drop a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you want your own version of those account coaching series, feel free to let me know from the Discord channel and then add me on the Discord and then hey, like reach out to me on the Discord like Ativva did like this. And then I'll try to make those videos as soon as possible. And I do apologize again, Ativva, for making this video very late. I was in Canada for the most of my week and I was unable to make this video much earlier. I do apologize for that. And as always, I see you all in the next video. All right, peace.